We can do whatever we want to in this country as long as we put our minds to it. Except treat black citizens and black immigrants with just a hair of respect. My name is Matt Stevens, and this is your Matt Minute in Politics. Okay, let's pivot, shall we, over to Haiti, right? A few people have asked me, what do I think about the Haitian situation at our border? And I would be remiss not to provide my 2 cents on it, okay? I'm gonna start, and I really should end the video by saying that in no way, shape, or form do I ever support or respect the fact that there are white Border Patrol officers in the United States that feel comfortable enough and free enough in their place of employment to use whips, chains, belts, bridles, whatever you want to call it. You can rename it. It was a whip. To use those items, even if it was a chopstick, whatever it was, that they felt free enough to use those to intimidate or to cause physical harm to Haitian immigrants, to any immigrants, but it was Haitians in this case. And so we'll stick with Haitians for the time being, right? Come along with me. I don't in any way support that, okay? I don't need context. I don't need to have a meeting with Joe Biden. I don't need to talk to Kamala Harris in the bathroom. I don't need to have a science fair project. I don't need a white paper. I don't need any type of Nicki Minaj research about what happened to know that that is out of order, out of line, shouldn't have happened. Somebody needs to be getting fired for that offense. The optics are bad, and the actual in practice tactic is bad, okay? They're trying to explain it by saying, oh, the whips were for the horses. I'm not even an animal rights activist, and we'll leave that to the animal rights activists. But I know that they were not designed for any type of immigrants, especially black Haitian immigrants. So in no way, shape, or form do I support that. I could turn off this video right now and go on about my business, and that would be the video. That could be it. But I'm going to just stick with me a little bit. I want to kind of teach y'all something here because some people have asked me this, okay? So why are the Haitian immigrants here at our southern border? Let me give you a quick history lesson, okay? Haiti has faced 3 crises in the past 11 and a half years. Crisis number 1 was in January of 2010 when they had a massive earthquake in the northern part of the country that killed 200,000 plus people in one day. It displaced hundreds of thousands more people and injured tens of thousands. And that was crisis 1. Crisis 2, July 7th of this year, just 2 months ago. The president of Haiti, Jovenel Moise, was assassinated in his home while he slept with his wife next to him. He was assassinated. So the government kind of fell in on itself. Now, there were problems in the Haitian government prior to that assassination, but he was assassinated. And usually heads of state that have massive security details are not assassinated while they sleep in their own home in the capital. That just doesn't happen that often, okay? So that was crisis number 2. Crisis number 3 was earthquake number 2, which happened on August the 14th of this year. On that morning, there was like a 7.2 magnitude earthquake. Killed 1,200 people, displaced tens of thousands in the southern part of the country. So you've had 2 earthquakes on each side of the country within 11 and a half years that have claimed the lives of over 200,000 people, okay? Plus the government turmoil, political turmoil, however you want to call it. So they have ample reason under international law to seek asylum in the United States. They have both natural disasters occurring at every clip in their country, and they also have had political upheaval that has been well documented in their country that has basically caused a collapse of all most available services and things that we take for granted, say here in America, okay? So that would be the setup of why they're here. Since that 2010 earthquake, a lot of Haitians have been living in South America, and they had started to slowly migrate northward toward our border because of the pandemic, because of what had happened in their country. And they've been living away from their homeland for so long that they have begun to through social media and word of mouth, make their way toward the southern border of the U.S. in order to try to seek asylum or try to, I don't know, enter illegally into the country. I'm not sure about that, depending on the person. Now, there's been this other thing that I've been hearing. People say, well, they treat Afghan citizens better than they do Haitians. Do you agree with that? You know what? This week only, this week, because this is America, it changes week to week how we treat racism and black people in this country. But I would agree with that this week or this month, that yes, we do treat Afghan immigrants or asylum seekers in this country, and we have treated them in the past month or so better than we're treating the Haitian asylum seekers. And why? It's a very simple concept called a guilty conscience. Okay? Why a guilty conscience, Matt? Glad you asked. Okay, guilty conscience. Quick history lesson is we went into Afghanistan in 2001 in the war on terror after 9/11. Within a couple months, we took down the Taliban that was running the country. And over the next 19 years, we participated in nation building. At some point, that nation building went right. Other points, it didn't go right. Depending on how you look at it. By the end of the 19 years, the government that we had propped up and the military that we had basically formed for them and had staffed with their people, all of it fell in on each other. You see a thing, a common theme of things falling in on each other. So what they did was we felt so bad, i.e. guilty conscience, about all of those 40 to 80,000 people over there in Afghanistan that helped us during that war. We wanted to bring them here because they helped our troops stay alive while we were over there occupying their country and nation building when we probably should have been at home. So we felt bad. So we brought them here and we gave them like quilts and clothing and hot food and water and places to stay and Airbnbs and all these different things. And people were, helping the kids and everything like that because we felt bad. We had a guilty America. We had a guilty conscience, but we don't feel the same way about Haitians. Could be because of the color of their skin. I would venture to say so. Also, we don't see the value in Haitian immigrants coming to this country because they haven't helped our troops, or they're poor, and so we can't get money out of them. And there's no real value in some people's eyes in this country to having Haitian immigrants in this country. Now, I could do a video for 30 minutes about this. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to bore you with all of those details right now. Maybe we'll talk about it at different points in the future. But I wanted to just at least go on the record and say, what in the entire hell is going on when we feel comfortable? We Border Patrol, white Border Patrol officers feel comfortable even when you signed in at work with your key card attached to your hip, you went and got a whip. And you took it out to your place of government employment where our government is operating and employed and doing business. How and why did you feel okay with that? And it's not okay. It's not all right. It has a lot of implications, but even beyond the historical, i.e. slavery implications of it, it also is just not good fucking practice to whip people as a Border Patrol agent. They're not animals. They're people seeking asylum in this country. So if you want to talk about it with me, all my social media information is in the lower left-hand corner of this video. Get at me on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram at Mr. Prune Juice. I would love to continue this discourse and find out what you think about this in the comment section. But at the end of the day, shouldn't have happened. I don't like it. I don't stand for it. I don't want to see any more of it. Y'all take care.